So the power level in the air is M. Then you add your techniques like the antenna gain, K. Then because of diversity, you get to fill the real power little more. Add that L. But then you subtract all the other loss like effects, like the cable loss that you have to subtract. So D. And the H you see them. I mean, look at the table and see the rows. H is the body loss. Body loss means when you are getting the signal, say in the downlink, uh, because of your body, uh, some power may penetrate through your human body, and that can incur some loss. Or you may be inside a vehicle, so the vehicle body can add some loss. In the downlink, this kind of losses you may have. So these things you have to subtract. Like so D, E, see the expression on the top corner. D, H, these things are subtracted. I is I is vehicle loss. These things you subtract. J is the loss if you're inside the building. Then the BPL you subtract. That's J. Okay, so D, H, I, J, these things you subtract. So that gives you the carrier power C. And C minus N gives you F, which is your CINR. But we actually want to calculate M from this part of our discussion. So from M, we rearrange the whole thing. Now all the letters we rearrange. Okay. Okay. Now the link budget in this link budget you calculate for both uplink and downlink, but the calculation is a little different. For downlink, you have this say this body loss, vehicle loss, whatever we have just explained. These things you explain because the mobile is the receiver. From the base station as you're receiving, you may be inside a vehicle, you may be inside a building, so you add this loss. But in the uplink, you transmit, and I mean the base is not within some building or within some vehicle. So those fields are vacant in the uplink. You see there are two columns, uplink and downlink. So you don't have those, I mean, no values against those laters. So there are a few things that you have values in the uplink, and there's a few things you have for downlink. Like in the uplink, you could have that diversity applied because in the uplink you can put multiple antennas on the base station, and you can use this diversity gain. So on the for diversity gain, K, you have some value in the uplink, but not in the downlink because on the mobile phone you cannot put multiple antennas. So there's this value zero there. Now, similarly, say for cable loss, uh, the in the case of uplink, oh, okay. In the case of uplink, base station is receiving at the antenna, then I mean the at the receiver after the antenna after the cable you get some power, but in the but in the downlink, your mobile does not have this kind of cable loss, so that field is zero. So this is how you calculate both in the uplink and downlink what minimum value you require at the receiver end in the air. So M is the for either uplink or downlink, the minimum required power uh, in the air in front of the receiver to fulfill the minimum PINR of the receiver. For receiver to maintain certain, like you see the column C by N in the parentheses in the table. I'm marking the column which has F on the rightmost column. Mark F. So there you see that the minimum BI requirement is 33%. For that, the CINR is set to 15. Set to 15. That is your F here in the expression. 15, 15 GB. So to fulfill this minimum CINR requirement or to fulfill this 3% BI requirement, this is the minimum power you need. Okay. One more slide, please bear with me. Give me 5 more minutes. Uh, so we started 10 minutes late. So now this is the second stage of your calculation. From the previous calculation, this minus 125 dB, 125 dB for uplink, minus 97.1 dB for downlink is the power calculated. So now we put them here. You see that there's a there is a row effective minimum input. There you put those values marked in red, yellow, okay, for uplink and for downlink. So this is the power you have. You minimum you require the this big n minimum. And then do the calculation for uplink first because that limits your I mean as we showed earlier that because of your uplink power transmit power may be limited. So to maintain that balance, do the calculation on the uplink side first. So there you have those values given like what the maximum transmit power on the uplink is. So there's given 1.6 watt, we calculate in dB, 27.8 dBm. Then the transmit power, I mean the gain of the mobile is considered zero, so your GT is zero, and so EIRP just still 27.8. And then body loss or vehicle loss, okay, these losses are added because you're transmitting, but this power is, I mean, this transmit power uh, has to go through the body or your car body. So you subtract these losses, and there may be building, you may be inside building. In this case, you are not inside building, so for BPL you have zero value. But then you also add some paid margin. Okay, so uh, sorry, you subtract some. I mean, this thing you must subtract. Okay, so from uh, this this E is the transmit from ERT, you calculate this way equals to A minus B minus C minus D. And this J transmit power that you need to calculate is E minus F minus D minus H minus A because these are the losses. With considering paid margin, you also assume that your actual power is lower because of the fluctuation. Your actual power is little lower because it drops to some lower value. So that's your case. So then this is the effective transmit power you have in the uplink at the mobile end, and minus 125.5 we calculated in the previous slide as the minimum receive power requirement in the uplink that is in front of the base station. So as you subtract these two, you get the allowable path loss, and that is 139.8. So there's the maximum path loss. You can allow this maximum path loss. It cannot be more than that. And now you use that for downlink to ensure path loss, path balance. We use 139.8 on the right, on the base, on the downlink column, on the bottom row. You just copy this 139.8. And right above minus 97.1 dBm, you calculate from the previous slide. Okay, then you subtract 139.8 from this value, then you get the effective transmit power requirement. This is the requirement at the transmit power end. So at the base station end, it is for downlink. So that is 42.7. Now you do a back calculation to calculate the actual transmit power. This is the effective transmit power. But what you said for your amplifier is different. Like the transmit power in at the is A, and to calculate E, you subtract these values. Like you from the amplifier end, you transmitted A, but because of the cable loss, other combiner loss, you, you can have some losses. But the antenna gain you add. So A minus B minus C, B and C is cable loss, C is combiner. Combiner loss is the actual circuit element. When you split power, you need that. Anyway, so this these are some circuit losses, B and C, but D is the antenna gain that you add. So that's how you calculate E. And then you calculate if the other losses on the way, and because of fade margin, you subtract cosine of application. So from E you calculate this thing, and then you actually get the effective transfer cost. Now here actually do a back calculation. From J is already given 42.7. You need to calculate A. Okay, so you see that I have put here two equations on the right bottom. When you calculate J from ABCD, okay, there is something you can use for the uplink side, and for the downlink side, you can use the bottom equation. Just a little bit rearrangement. Now you need to calculate A. J is already given. From J, you need to calculate A. So that's how the final results of the whole calculation is that the base station you need 42.3 dBm as the transfer power. Okay. So you also get the maximum tap loss from which you can get calculate the maximum distance. 139.8 is the maximum tap loss. This is another important result from a link budget calculation. The maximum distance can be, and then the maximum the transfer power you need at the base station. Okay, so this gives you an overall estimation of the power levels or the distance. Okay, this is the last slide of the link logic calculation. Any questions? Questions? Okay, okay, if there are no questions, we can stop our discussion today. Once again, any questions? Okay, then let me stop here. Thank you for your time.